So you're looking to get a forklift license. It's a great move for a ton of jobs. But you know what? The whole process might not be what you think it is. What if I told you that the license everyone's talking about, well, it doesn't really exist? Let's dive in and clear this up. Right, you see it all the time on job postings. Forklift license required. And your first thought is probably, okay, I'll just head down to the DMV, right? I mean, it makes sense, just like getting your driver's license. But that one little assumption is actually the biggest myth in the whole industry. And there you have it. Just let that sink in for a second. There is no single government-issued universal forklift license that you can just get once and carry with you from job to job. So if there's no license, what on earth are all these employers actually asking for? What they're really after is something called a forklift certification. Think of it as proof that you've been properly trained on how to operate a forklift safely. It's a rule that comes from OSHA, that's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The big difference here? It's all about on-the-job safety, not a plastic card from the government. Okay, so how do you get this certification? Well, OSHA has a really clear three-part process. I like to call them the 3 pillars of certification. Once you understand these 3 steps, the whole thing just clicks. Let's break down these pillars. Pillar number 1 is formal instruction. This is kind of like the classroom part, the book smarts, and you can often do it online. Pillar 2 is hands-on training, which is exactly what it sounds like. You actually get on a forklift and practice. But the final piece, and this is absolutely crucial, is the workplace evaluation. This is where an employer physically watches you operate their specific machine in their warehouse, and they're the ones who officially sign off on you. You've got to have all 3. All right, knowing the pillars is great, but how do you even get started, especially if you don't have a job yet? Well, you've basically got 2 main paths you can go down to get the training you need. So on one hand, you've got employer-sponsored training. This is for folks who already have a job. In this case, it's actually your employer's legal duty to provide the training and pay for it on their specific equipment. Then, on the other hand, you have third-party training. This is the path for job seekers. You pay a training school to get those first 2 pillars done, and then you have something awesome to show potential employers that proves you're serious. Now, for the big questions everyone asks, how long is this all going to take, and what's it going to cost me? The answer really depends on which of those 2 paths you end up taking. This chart really lays it out. If you're already hired, the training is free. Your company covers it, and it'll probably take a day or 2 of your regular work time. Now, if you're a job seeker going to a third-party school, you could be looking at anywhere from maybe $40 for an online theory course up to around $300 for a full in-person class. The real payoff is that getting trained beforehand gives you a certificate that makes your resume pop. So let's say you go out and get a training certificate from one of those third-party providers. Is that like a golden ticket to getting a job? Well, not exactly, but it does show employers that you have the key things they're looking for. Let's talk about why it's so valuable. So what really gets a hiring manager's attention? It's seeing that you're already serious about safety. A certificate shows you've taken the initiative to learn the rules before even walking in the door. It tells them you aren't a total beginner and that you're ready for their final on-site evaluation. That right there is a huge advantage over other candidates. Okay, let's go over some really common mistakes to avoid. First, don't assume that a certificate for a basic warehouse forklift means you're good to go on a huge, rough terrain telehandler. Different machines mean different training. Second, be super careful of any online course that promises you an instant license but never mentions the hands-on evaluation part. That's a giant red flag. And finally, just keep in mind that your certification isn't forever. It's only good for 3 years. All right, so we've busted the big myth, we've walked through the 3 pillars, and we've laid out the 2 main paths to getting certified. Now let's put it all together so you can figure out exactly what your next step should be. Honestly, it's this simple. If you've already been offered a job, you can just relax. Ask them about their training schedule because they're required to handle it for you. But if you're still out there job hunting, investing a little time and money in a good third-party course to get that formal instruction piece done is one of the smartest things you can do to make your application jump to the top of the pile. So yeah, the whole forklift license idea is a myth. But the path to becoming a certified, skilled, and in-demand operator, that's very real. And now you know how to do it. You know what OSHA needs, you know what employers want to see, and you know how to get started. So the only real question left is, where are you going to take these skills?